Hello everybody and welcome to my little chat for Monday the, what is it, 27th of July 2015. As usual, I'm starting with finished part. Actually, I'm gonna divide this first section up a little bit differently, as you might have seen from the title screen. This is the Malifaux section. Only completed miniature this week is this guy, the alternate Marcus, which is very alternate. The reason he has this paint scheme is that I'm trying to figure out a way to paint Drow. You know, the dark elves from D&D, which have black skin and white hair. Because how do you paint black, pure black skin so it looks good? Well, in the artwork, if you look at how painters tried to deal with it, they have to have highlights in some other color, and the candidates are brown, gray, blue, or purple. And this time I'm trying out purple because brown, to me, it just looks too much like some natural form of African skin tone. Gray looks kind of boring, so we're left with blue or purple, and this is my attempt at a purple highlight to black skin and the white hair. I'm not sure it looks any good. I kind of like the patchwork leather skirt though, and some of the other details turned out well, but oh well, that's him. What's in the works in the Malifaux section is the Slater Mauler, which I've started to assemble. You can see here I put the first two arms on and green stuffed a little bit the gaps. This is going very slow because we're having a very humid time of it where I live, and if the air humidity is high, then super glue doesn't set very quick. I've actually just ordered some of that super glue accelerant, the little spray you spritz on to make it set faster. I've never tried that, but I want to try that out, and so yeah, I'm gonna have to finish this before that arrives. Anyway, we have two more arms. We have the head, where I've assembled the lower jaw was separate and had to be glued and gap filled on. And of course I have to build up a base for him. But the thing is, for this model, prep is probably going to take longer than painting. I mean, prep is more than half the work in any case, but in this particular case, you know, there's not much to this model. It's a big fur rug, essentially. That's what it is, with some claws and spikes and things, but those are minor things. Once the prep is complete, painting will be very quick, I believe. So, maybe done by next week. We'll see. Moving on to Frostgrave, the first completed miniatures are these four. These are my initial soldiers. There's this one guy with a staff, and for some reason a spoon stuck to his hat. We have a man with a club, and we have two archers, two bowmen here. I put a lot of snow on their bases because Frostgrave takes place in a wintry clime. I can turn them around. Show the back of them. And panning up here, we have, as works in progress, our Sigillist, which is my wizard, and her apprentice. I've completed the skin tones, but otherwise the green and the gray are just base coats. The idea, the inspiration for the paint scheme is from the rule book. I can pop it in front of the camera here. Oh, zoom out a bit. See, this is the artwork for the Sigillist. And I'm following it pretty closely, I think. I won't be able to make the scroll burn or glow like that, but I'll do my best with the other details. Now, as for the next portion of the warband to be These are not even prepped yet. I've just placed these down for you to see. We have some soldiers with better weapons and armor. We have some pole arms. We have a 2-weapon wielder, another pole arm, and some crossbow users. Yeah. So that's coming along pretty well, I think. And finally, we have The Strangers on the Train, the Call of Cthulhu Horror on the Orient Express minis. And these 3 are finished. These are the staff of the train, a conductor, a waiter, and yet another conductor. And let's hold them up a bit more individually. You can see them more clearly. These are, I mean, this is like mostly one color, just this one shade of blue. So these were not difficult to paint. The tricky part was the shirt collars and ties between the face and the jacket. They were not clearly modeled in all cases. They're mostly just suggested, and so I've had to sort of fudge it a little bit. I didn't put anything on his serving tray, but you know, you can easily have little objects you just place on there. They don't need to be glued on. With this guy, I think I made a little bit of a mistake when I pinned him to the base. I think he's a little too far back. He should have been more centered, you know, a few millimeters forward. But I don't expect a lot of people will notice or care about that. So they're done. Next up, we have these 3 the cultists, which have been prepped and primed. They had a few mole line issues that I've mostly taken care of. There's a little bit left on this hand here, but I think that will be hidden by the paint job. This guy has a rather nasty mole line on the inside of his coat between his, you can see it between his legs there, but I will disguise that simply by painting it a very dark color, the lining of the coat, I mean. And I like these. I mean, I like modern day humans like this, which have, you know, sensible clothing. It's easy to tell exactly what everything is, and it's simple and logical to paint. I do enjoy those simple paint jobs once in a while as a to relax from the more complex ones. And here we have our completed bones for the week. Not very many compared to previous weeks, but that's because I painted so many of the better quality miniatures that you've seen. Now, mostly these look like crap, but hey, they're just bones and I don't care about them, so I take the opportunity to experiment with a lot of weird color combinations and techniques and so forth. And I mean, just for you know, tossing them out on the table during a role-playing session, they're fine. Now, as I mentioned before, this one is, he should stand up like this, but he doesn't. He's hunched over, so his club is touching the ground and looks stupid, but whatever. You know, color combinations, these fishmen, I went for some unusual colors with those. I mean, hey, at least they're bright and stand out. The froggy dudes are a bit more subdued. I should perhaps have gone with the brighter green on these. This one is sort of an olive colored. theme. This one kind of pale. I like how the brain on legs turned out, though. I don't know what it is, but it's spooky. And finally, we have a basilisk. Oh well. Let's see what's next. And here we see the bones that are currently in the works. The ones that have been in the works the longest are these turtles. They're, I don't suppose that they're close to completion now. They might not look like it. They're still pretty messy, but they're going to get some dry brushing and washes. And most of the others I've splashed a little bit of paint on, mostly on the bases, undercoated with black. The parts, they're going to be metallic. But, you know, several of these are really quick paint jobs. I mean, the dragons, if you're painting a small dragon like this, it's basically just two colors. It's the main color of the scales and the belly color. The reason I've undercoated the wings in black is because I want them to be a darker shade of the main color. Anyway, I've assembled and primed these two that I showed you just in their baggies last week. Let's see if they're in focus. This is the roper. I'm not sure. It was not clear which tentacles went in which socket, so I just kind of winged it. This one was sort of difficult because you see the inner mouth down there. Gluing it into place was impossible because it simply did not fit. There was no... I don't really understand what they were thinking. There was absolutely no correlation between the inner and outer mouth. I simply stuck it in place with green stuff and then painted over it. But anyway, you can see the 2 rows of teeth. These might all get done next week, at least most of them. I have some further comments about bones, but I think I'll save that for the finale of the video. So, let's talk a little more about bones, and I promise to shut up about this after this segment. But they recently had their 3rd Kickstarter. It funded this weekend. In the end, I did not back it at all. I was in there with a $1 pledge for a long time, simply to get all their updates, and so I could, you know, keep track of what they were doing and if they were going to add anything I might be interested in. But in the end, I did not, even though there were a couple of things I might have gone for, the terrain and the paints. But I didn't because of two things. One, it would not in the end have been especially cheap, because the way Reaper does shipping is very, very expensive for a consumer outside the US. But most importantly and ethically, you know, a matter of principles here, is that I became disgusted with their marketing. Now, when you're showing off, you're trying to demonstrate product you don't have yet. I understand using artwork, you know, the pencil sketches and the 3D renders, sure. That's not deceptive because the person looking at it understands that this is just concepts. This might not resemble the final result in any way, shape, or form. But Reaper, for this campaign, they had a ton of images, and they put out several videos of actual models, of miniatures, that look really, really good. They look great, look amazing. And you're thinking, wow, can I get this quality for that price? Of course, I'm in. But it's a lie, because those miniatures are not production models. They're not in Bonesium. Those are what we call resin masters. Those are prototypes made from the original sculpt and, you know, cast in a very limited number, perhaps only a single casting, and with extremely high quality control, and in a hard material to make sure that it, it catches all the detail as well as possible. And the final Bones product will look nothing like that. And there is not a single disclaimer anywhere in the campaign, not on any of their web pages, any of their videos, telling the consumer that. And I could tell from the comments people were making on the posts that a lot of them were really enthusiastic and seemed to buy it. They didn't seem to understand what the difference would be, what they would, get in their box in the end. And I considered posting some comments of my own to disillusion them, but in the end, I didn't do that either. I thought, why stick my neck out there? I'm just gonna get attacked, and for what? Let people make their own mistakes. So, yeah, I dodged that one. On a lighter note, talking about something more positive, I put out, I think it was 3 videos this week. One actual technique video or tip video about basing, and 2 reviews. And I have some more reviews planned for this week. I will continue, I think, mostly about painting guides of various kinds. It takes a while to read a role-playing game or a book to provide a review of that. But there are some other videos coming along, so watch out for that. But until next video, Dakian is once again signing off.